The polar bear, also known as the great white northern bear, can be found throughout the Arctic region. It is the largest and most powerful species of bear. Males can weigh up to 1,700 pounds and can reach up to 10 feet in length. The polar bear's body is stocky with a long neck and a small head in comparison to its body. It has short, rounded ears and a short tail. Despite having white fur, the polar bear's skin is black. This aids in absorption of heat from the sun. Under the bear's skin is a layer of insulating fat. The bear has huge, broad, and hairy feet, which aid in insulation and facilitate movement across the ice. Their claws are typically around 6 inches long and are used for digging, hunting, and swimming in the cold, watery environment. Polar bears usually feed on seals, but will also prey on beluga whales and walruses. These animals travel long distances and over vast expanses on drifting oceanic ice slabs on the hunt for their usual prey. The animal was listed as threatened under the Endangered Species Act in 2008 and also protected under the Marine Mammal Protection Act. Both laws prohibit doing harm to the animal without prior authorization unless it's an immediate safety issue. Today, approximately 30,000 polar bears exist in the entire world. Experts say the polar bear species are in fight for their survival because of the Arctic sea ice slowly disappearing. Scientists in Norway have found that polar bears were interbreeding to survive. A recent study by the Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard found that the polar bear population has lost 10% of its genetic diversity. Experts say that the melting sea ice is starving the bears and that within this century, the polar bear could become completely extinct. The polar bear has no natural predators and has no fear of humans. In fact, they view humanity as prey. Summer Myomick, age 24, and her husband of Alaska lived in the village of St. Michael. The village is located on the east coast of St. Michael Island in the Norton Sound. It has beautiful tundras and snow-capped mountains and a stunning view of the Bering Strait. It's a popular tourist destination. The temperatures in the area range between 10 and 160 degrees below zero. The couple have a 1-year-old son named Clyde and a 3-year-old daughter that will remain unnamed due to privacy concerns. The family was temporarily living in the Kinkikmut School in Wales, Alaska, which doubles as a community center for the community, while their own home in St. Michael was undergoing electrical repairs. People living in Wales are predominantly Inupiaq with a population of less than 150 people. It's located on the far western tip of the Seward Peninsula, which borders the Bering Strait. It's a little more than 100 miles northwest of Nome and nearly 200 miles southeast of St. Michael. On January 17th in 2023, Summer bundled her son against her as she stepped out into the freezing winds and blurring snow. She was on her way to the clinic, which was only 150 yards away. Due to the snowstorm, her visibility was extremely poor. The storm was bone-chilling, but Summer was used to the cold weather. Not long after leaving the school, a huge polar bear appeared from the blinding snow squall. The bear was already on Summer before she noticed it. The huge bear began mauling Summer as she held her son tightly close to her. The principal of the school noticed the attack and ordered the blinds closed so the children couldn't see the horrific attack taking place just outside. Several employees from the school and community members left the safety of the building and attempted to scare the bear away with shovels and other tools. The bear stopped the attack and turned toward them. They were forced back inside with the principal shutting the door in the bear's face. The bear returned to Summer and her baby and continued the attack. There is no police in Wales, so a frantic call for help went out from the school to any locals who may have a rifle that would come and dispatch the bear. One local man arrived with a rifle while the bear was still attacking the mother and child. The man took aim and shot the bear, killing it. The man's name is being withheld as he wishes to remain anonymous. As for Summer and her young son, it was too late. Both had already been killed. Investigation into the attack was stalled due to Alaskan State Trooper helicopters not being able to land. The snowstorm hid the runway lights at the Wales Gravel airstrip. The officials could not get there until the following day. The Kingamuke School was closed for the next few days and only opened to counseling for students and the community. Myomick and her son's remains were transported to the state medical examiner's office in Anchorage. Susan Nedza, the chief administrator for the Bering Strait School District, says the land where they live can be unforgiving. She said, "Tough things happen, and life in general is a little more difficult." She said that winter was even more so. Nedza said she was nearly 200 miles away when the attack occurred. She heard it live over the radio. She said, "They were hitting the bear with shovels. The bear can be seen on camera leaving the attack and chasing those people onto the school porch stairs into the entryway, and the principal managed to close the door." She said the school staffers shut the blinds so the children couldn't see, but that didn't keep them from experiencing trauma. She said each person responds to crisis differently. You're fine one minute, you're not the next. She went on to say that some of the students are really struggling. They're just really struggling really hard. Parents are now required to escort their children to and from school, and there are now extra safety patrols around the building. Children return to school with shortened school days and a focus on emotional well-being. The school gradually introduced them back into its curriculum. The school now has a snow machine to give teachers transportation to and from school, and a fence was installed under the shop to keep the bears from hiding there. Lindsay Manjapani is a wildlife biologist with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's polar bear program in Alaska. She told reporters that polar bears are extremely rare. She also stated that the last attack in the United States happened in 1993 and it wasn't fatal. She said the last fatal attack was in 1990. Investigators took samples from the bear's skull and sent it off to veterinarian Dr. Kimberly Beckman of the Alaska Department of Fish and Game Division of Wildlife Conservation. She conducted tests on the tissue samples to try to determine why the animal acted so aggressively. The test revealed that the bear was an older adult male, approximately 17 years old, and in poor body condition. The bear tested negative for distemper, avian influenza, rabies, and toxoplasmosis. Dave Guston, the polar bear manager for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in Anchorage, said the ice is a part of the mystery that was difficult for investigators to probe. He said, "We had to tread lightly. Agencies involved in the aftermath of the attack also found themselves in uncharted territory." He said this polar bear was in a place where it had to dip into its energy reserves over time, so there wasn't any fat on its body. He also said there's not enough information to know what for sure caused the attack. Alaskan scientists at the U.S. Geological Survey in 2019 discovered that changes in the sea ice habitat correlates with evidence that polar bears' use of land was increasing, and that increases the chance of polar bear encounters. Michael Oxeriok is the Wales representative on the Alaska Nanak Co-Management Council. He says the council is working in cooperation with other organizations to bring back regular patrols. He says that with a warming climate and less ice, more human bear encounters are inevitable.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more from Wild Animal Network.